I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's CDC meeting. This is July 16th, 2018. As you know, we have been operating without a chairman for the past few meetings. I think we anticipate having a chairman hopefully soon. But until we do, we have to do a motion to appoint a chairman pro tem. Before we do that, Marilyn, can we just have a roll call of all the members?
Yes. Mr. Damasco?
Here.
Mr. Carriage?
Here.
Mr. St. Marie is not here. Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Shemanek?
Here.
Mr. Vant? Here. And Mr. Woods?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. So now I would like to propose a motion to appoint Mr. Brad Carriage as our chairman pro tem. Can someone make the motion? Okay.
Mr. Vant? No. Okay.
No.
Mr. Shemanek?
Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Peterson.
And let's have a roll call on that one.
Okay, Mr. Damasco?
Yes.
Mr. Carriage?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shemanek?
Yes.
Mr. Vant and Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes, and I will cede the floor to our chairman pro tem, Mr. Carriage.
Okay. Welcome to this meeting of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. My name is Brad Karish. I am the chairman pro tem of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Damasco?
Here.
Mr. Carriage?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Shemanek?
Here.
Mr. Vant? And Mr. Woods?
Here. I declare a quorum present. Moving into business items, I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 18th, 2018.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Woods and Mr. Peterson.
There
Mr.
be-
Damasco? A roll call on the minutes? No?
There being a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by stating nay. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. Moving into our remarks, we have only one public hearing scheduled for tonight. All testimony will be given under oath. At the hearing, there will be opportunity for the public to offer testimony and to comment. Following the public hearing, our deliberations will be open to the public in the sense that all are invited to listen and to watch. The public, however, may not speak during our deliberations. State statute requires a vote by a majority of the members of the Community Development Commission for those matters that will be referred to the City Council for approval and for those matters on which the Community Development Commission will make a final decision. Staff will provide a general description of the proposal followed by their assessment. We ask that the applicants here tonight then give specific evidence to demonstrate excuse me, that the proposal meets the standards of the approval for request. The burden is on the applicant to prove the case. With respect to others who wish to speak, you may give an opinion or present specific evidence as to why you believe that the applicant meets or fails to meet the standards for the request. Finally, we will strictly adhere to the schedule prepared for tonight's meeting. In the case of an applicant or in the event you or an attorney have filed an appearance as an objector, you will be afforded sufficient time within which to present your evidence. Whether you are a member of the public wishing to make a statement for the record or a witness testifying on behalf of an applicant or an objector, you will be placed under oath and then begin by stating your name and address. If you are not presenting evidence on behalf of the applicant or an objector, your remarks will be taken after the applicant and all of those who have filed an appearance as an objector have presented all of their evidence. You will be subject to question by the Community Development Commission and the applicant or objector. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, if you are not an applicant or an objector, we would request that your remarks be limited to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued until the next available hearing date. I will now call the matter before us this evening. Public hearing. Under case number 2018-CDC-06, as in regard to proposed text amendments to the Sign Code and Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 13 and 17, respectively, of the Municipal Code. The proposed text amendments include amending the size limitations and maximum allowing sign area for temporary signs in Section 13.501.c amending the maximum allowed sign area for non-residential real estate signs in section 13.502, amending, adding, and removing definitions in section 17.103, amending regulations regarding platted building and setback lines in section 17.601.q, amending regulations regarding established setbacks in section 17.601.r, and eliminating driveway approach construction requirements in section 17.607.d3a, subset 3. Will the secretary please note that the same commissioners are present? Okay, I declare there is a quorum present. Staff, please provide a summary of the request and indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper.
Would you raise your right hand, state your name and address, please?
Mo Khan, 404 North Woodell Road, Woodell, Illinois.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Carriage. Notice of publication was published in the Daily Herald on June 25th, 2018, and the certificate of publication is on file with the case folder. As Mr. Carriage stated, we have multiple amendments to the sign code and the UDO of the municipal code. I'll kind of just briefly go over what each of the amendments are and the reasons behind them. The first set of amendments is to the sign code, to temporary signs and also to temporary non-residential real estate signs. After talking to not only businesses and realtors and property owners, they shared concerns that our current sign code is limiting and allowing to effectively, have temporary signage and real estate signs for their properties. So after discussing, we are proposing these amendments to increase temporary signage from 16 square feet to 24 square feet, and then for non-residential real estate sign up to 32 square feet, also putting a limitation of a maximum allowable height of up to 6 feet. The reason I'm going for that is for allow businesses to effectively, promote and advertise their seasonal events or seasonal sales that are for short term, as well as for property owners and realtors to effectively advertise available properties that are for lease or for sale. The next set of amendments are to definitions. We only have very few. The first one is the built-to line. The current definition has the built-to line being measured from the curb or street, and that's not consistent with and not the intention of what it was supposed to be. It should have been from the front lot line, which is consistent with other dimensions that were measured like setbacks, which are all from the property line rather than the street line. We are adding the definition we're relocating the definition of driveway approach. This was located within the off-street parking regulation as to be consistent to include all definitions within the definition section. We're relocating it from the off-street section to the definition section. And while deleting the definition of setback established, that wasn't really a definition being provided in the definition section. It was more of a method of measuring to establish it, and that is being amended as part of an additional amendment that we'll see tonight. The next set is making amendments to the platted building setback line. It's being amended to that it prevails only if it is greater than what is required by code. So for example, if there's a platted setback line of 35 feet and our code requires 25 feet, that platted line will prevail because it's a greater amount. But if our code requires a greater amount than that, so ours says 35 and the platted says 25, ours will still prevail because it's a greater amount. So we want to make sure that our code and any platted or recorded setback lines are consistent and don't conflict with one another. The next set of amendments is to the what's being changed to establish built-to line. It was currently what's called established setback line. We're amending how it's being determined. It's also, we're amending that it's only applicable in residential zoning districts rather than both residential and commercial zoning districts. The reason for this amendment is we understand that what our code requires now with built-to lines may not be consistent with how prior development occurred historically. So right now, many of our built-to lines are 25 feet from what will be the front lot line, but many older homes that were built prior to the adoption of the current zoning code may have been built closer or further back. So kind of maintain that established characteristic of being further back or closer to, allowing developers or homeowners to choose this option if they want to. They don't have to. They can choose to do it if they don't want to build it to what the code requires. And then finally, the last one, we're removing the specific material and construction requirement from the code. So right now, one example is that all driveway aprons or approaches have to be concrete. We're removing that it's in approval by the Director of Public Works, so depending if you're using concrete, asphalt, pavers, that there'll be standard specifications for what those have to be, but you no longer have to just do concrete. So it allows homeowners more flexibility, kind of create an aesthetic for their property, but also, maintaining those construction requirements for different materials. Staff is recommending to CDC to recommend approval of this. These text amendments are consistent with the UDO and consistent with the comprehensive plan. In staff's opinion, these text amendments are, one, business friendly because it allows businesses to more effectively advertise their businesses and properties. It helps regulate development and also is maintaining and protecting the characteristics of various neighborhoods. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
When I was reading it, the only question I had is when the driveways say, if the resident has a asphalt driveway and then there's a concrete sidewalk, then does that make a difference in what the finish needs to be from the sidewalk to the street, or can it still be the apron, can it still be then back to asphalt again, or does it have to be concrete from that point?
Staff isn't making any recommendations to changes for the sidewalk requirements. So as of right now, they would still have to have a concrete sidewalk.
Right, but the apron
But
itself.
the apron can be
Okay,
potentially
yeah, that was
asphalt,
just, I thought that's what it said, I just,
yeah.
okay.
So if a homeowner or a property owner wants to do an asphalt driveway from their private property all the way to the street, they can make an asphalt apron. It'll have to meet certain specification requirements, but they can choose to make it asphalt.
Great, okay.
Hasn't the cost of replacement of the apron normally been on the city?
No.
No, it's always been on the customer?
Yeah, so if a homeowner wants to replace the apron, it's, their choice. The only time the city has to replace it is if they're doing part of a street replacement program. Then the city will typically put in the apron for the property owner, but if a private owner wants to do it, then they cover the cost of it.
About the gutter, that's, it's all concrete, is that municipal problem, the city problem, to replace that, it's broken? Put it in a new driveway?
So if they're taking out the curb as part of the replacement, the homeowner would have to replace the curb.
And if there's not a curb there, it's just a gutter.
If there's not a curb, then we wouldn't require them to put a curb in if there's not one existing. Again, I'm not completely
I'm saying
understanding.
The driveway itself, when you pull into the driveway, there's a gutter there. It's not a curb. That's broken up or needs to be replaced, or if the driveway is replaced, does the city replace the gutter that's broken?
Oh,
It's part of the street, right? Is that what you're talking about?
It's actually a gutter.
The city is responsible. Yeah, the city, can you hear me? Okay, the city is responsible to maintain that gutter system. It's like 12, 18 inches. And then the apron will start and go up, like if you have a, yeah, they did mine.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I got one more question. Hang on one second. Proven changes to the driveway approach. That'll be the apron. Be first approved by the Director of Public Works at his or her discretion before any permit is issued to the work.
It reads his or her designee. His or her designee, not discretion.
His or her design, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay. Would the petitioner like to give any presentation or provide additional information? Okay. Can we just skip them? Do these other parts? Any member of the public, would you like to make a comment? No? Okay. All right. let's go down here. There being no further discussion, is there a motion relative to the proposed text amendments to Chapter 13 and 17? Okay. It's right here, okay, sorry. Excuse me, pardon me. Having no additional testimony, I'll now close the public hearing for case number 2018-CDC-06. We will now proceed into deliberation on the merits of this request. Any other further discussion? Okay, there being no further discussion, is there a motion relative to the proposed text amendments to Chapter 13 and 17? Suggested motion is
So
provided in the staff memo.
yeah, if you take a look at the staff memo, it's page 4. The staff has proposed a recommended motion. So any member of the CDC can make this motion. The motion starts with the paragraph that starts with, based on the various proposed text amendments. So any member of the CDC can make that motion using this language.
Based on the various proposed text amendments to the sign code and the UDO, as summarized in the staff memo, I move that the Community Development Commission adopt and findings of facts included within the staff memo as the findings of the Community Development Commission and recommend to the City Council approval of case number 2018-CDC-06.
So that's the motion.
Any second?
Second, please.
Second? Yeah, roll call, please.
Mr. Damasco? Mr. Carriage?
Hold on. So this is a yes or no vote?
Okay.
So when you're called on, it's a yes or
Yes
a
or
no?
no? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shemanek?
Yes.
Mr. Vant?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Call the roll, okay. The motion to recommend approve denial of the proposed text amendments to Chapter 13 and 17 carries. Moving on to our staff liaison report. Is there any report from the staff? Okay. Is there any other business? Okay. There being no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Shemanek? Mr. Damasco, second.
Okay. There being a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.